Hey everybody, Chris here. Today we're in one of our greenhouses and we're going to do a little bit of tilling and soil preparation. Now this is one of our new houses. It's only been up a month or two and it's technically a greenhouse. We do have a heater, but it's not hooked up. So we're going to treat this like a high tunnel this year. Last year this plot was not cropped. In fact, we ran some chickens over it. So it's really fertile, but when we do till a new plot up, we generally like to add some fertility. So we're going to add some distiller's grain today. That is a organic fertilizer that's readily available around here. It's a byproduct of the bourbon distillery process. So we have plenty of that in our area. So I'm going to use that. It's a nice balanced fertilizer. And we're going to add a little bit of lime too. This is pelletized lime. It's not necessary to add lime every time. This plot hasn't been limed in a while, so we're going to add a little bit of lime. Over time, soils become more acidic. And this is one of our most fertile soils actually on the farm that we set this greenhouse over. So I'm not really worried about that too much. I can test it later, but since we're going to till it up, I'm going to go on and put a little bit of lime on it, a little bit of fertilizer, and now we'll give it time to work in the soil. And we'll probably plant in here in maybe 2 weeks when we have some transplants ready to go. So we're going to go ahead and spread this fertilizer and till today and make it seem like spring. Let's get started. So we've got this side tilled up. We didn't till very deep. That's really just to take the weeds off the top and incorporate them in. That will give the soil a jump start. We'll add some oxygen in there, and with some warm temperatures and the sun shining down on it, it'll really get the microbial activity really ramped up and starting to work early. So we have a living soil here, and this living soil will start to live and breathe, and we'll be able to put some crops in it here in just a couple weeks. Now you see the high tunnel after it's already been planted. We decided to actually put some heirloom tomatoes in here. They do really well under plastic where they don't get rain on the leaves. So these are some different heirloom tomatoes that we'll put on a high trellis. Some over there. Put a row of lizanthus in here, flowers, and then over here we did a couple of rows of Asian cucumbers, so the long greenhouse cucumbers, and then a couple more rows of tomatoes. So everything's planted. We have irrigation tape down, and everything's growing really well. It's nice and warm in here on a cool day, and everything's looking good. Here's the onion fairy planting onions. On March 2nd, we can go ahead and put onions in tubs, get them growing in the high tunnel or the greenhouse. It's quite warm in here and they'll be protected and without any supplemental heat. Pop up early. We'll stick these as close as we can in these tubs. This is sort of recycled soil we've dumped out of pots. And we'll put these onion sets in here. These are just green onions that will grow pretty quickly. And so end of April, 1st of May, we'll have green onions we can just pull right out of here, bunch up for our early market. Okay, so 1st of April, we're getting our earliest transplants out, and these are our Asian greens. We just finished our early cabbage, kale, broccoli, and we're still working on kale. But these are our early mustard greens, some Asian greens. There's a little cilantro here. This is bok choy. So I've already got this planted. Bok choy we have in plugs. This is another Asian type of green. And we plant all these by hand in prepared beds. Just with our planting tool. We use a string to keep the rows straight, and then it's early we always cover with some sort of row cover and then weigh it down just to moderate the temperature, to keep the insects off of it. So we've got some more Asian greens going in here. It's supposed to rain tonight, so we want to put this in right before a rain so we don't have to irrigate it. So weather is mild, it's moderate, the freezes are for the most part gone. But whatever freezes we do have or cold weather, these are fairly hardy greens we're putting in, and that row cover will give it 2 or 3 degrees of frost protection, so we don't have to worry about that. So a lot of little transplanting, but this is the bok choy and what follows. Here we are back at the planting after several weeks, probably been over a month actually. The bok choy looking good. It's actually at the baby size, so we like to harvest it this size. We don't have a whole lot of insect damage because of the cover we put on it, which keeps out the flea beetles and such. So maybe a couple holes, but it's in pretty good shape and no chemical sprays on it. And ready for our very earliest greens. We've already got the cabbage, kale and stuff is planted in the same plot. And then we've got a little bit of our plastic laid over here. And there's a bunch of other stuff under there, but I'm not gonna uncover it all for the video. So I wanted to show you all our black plastic mulch that's down that we have already planted into. We use this for early season crops that like heat, like peppers, tomatoes, eggplant. Actually, this is tomatillo here. And this mulch actually has a couple of benefits. Number one, it warms the soil up very significantly. So it's really warm right here today on a sunny day, and it prevents any weeds from coming up. So we don't have to use chemical herbicides for weed control. And in fact, there's pretty much the whole season, this keeps all the weeds from coming up. It also doesn't let rain in, so we do have to have irrigation tape laid underneath this. So we do have to lay that. So there is the cost of laying this. It's not that expensive, just a few pennies a foot, but there is a disposal cost. We do have to take this up in the fall, and that takes quite a bit of labor. And then it's hard to dispose of or recycle because it's dirty at that point, so most recyclers won't take it. So there is that cost, and it is a petroleum product. But the trade-off is quite significant. It's the equivalent of a few gallons of gas, so it's not actually that much plastic here. We only do a few rows of this. What we are trying this year is actually a biodegradable mulch. This is cornstarch based, so it has some of the same benefits of this mulch. Unfortunately, it's about 3 times the cost, but the benefits are that it will degrade here on the soil after several months and not leave any byproducts behind. It's just cornstarch based, so it's going to break down into natural elements in the soil, and it's going to go away. Then we're only left with our drip tape, which we can pull up. So it's probably not going to last as long as this, maybe a full season, but 3 or 4 months is enough for most of our crops. We're going to put, I think, eggplant into these 2 rows here. It looks just the same, so the benefits are the same, just a little bit of difference there. So it's not a difficult process, but this really helps us with our early season crops and getting them going started really early. So we'll show you how that process takes place as we lay it.
Tape came off, so I hope it's right. Yes, it should be.
This will go in there either way.
And this will go, okay. No, I thought I put it on the right way because that's where the other one came off.
The color strip goes up.
Now where's it going to go, and I can help you with it? It goes way up. Can you get it, Asa? It's really.
Yeah, I can get it. The animals are real pleasant.
You get in there. You lift it up.
Hold on, let me get in here and I'll help. Oh gosh.
My son.
I don't know. You don't know.
He's giving us a curve.
Hercules. Whew. All right, now we'll have to. We did not tighten this because I wasn't sure. You know, we always seems like we have to adjust it. So.
Piece of wire.
Here. Watch
Bamboo.
your eyes.
Oh, here's a wire, Asa.
All right, we got some.
Look at that. Ants come out too. All right. This has to be semi-tight.